Oh, baby, time to level up. Look at this question. Oh, my goodness. I'm giving you decimals and fractional exponents. Woohoo! Oh, my goodness, so much fun. Okay, don't freak out. Just remember what you learned all the way back in grade 5. That's the 10th position. That's the 100th position. So you're actually dealing with 4 over 100. 4 100ths. That's it. To the power of 3 over 2. Now, also remember, there's your flower, which is your power. There's your root. That's simple. I always do roots first. Always roots first. Okay? So this is the square root of 4 over 100. Check that out. All to the power of 3. Now, some people at this particular point, and I'm going to just stop for a second, and I'm going to show you something. Some people at this point say, well, shouldn't you actually reduce 4 over 100? Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could divide 4 into 4. That goes in once. Go 4 into 100. That goes in 25 times. And then the rest of it is still the same. Square root, all cubed. Some people will say you should reduce as you go. And yeah, you know what? Honestly, I agree with you. But will they give you two different answers? No, they'll give you the same answer. Okay? I'll prove it to you. Let's go to this blue one first. Let's do that one first. The square root of 4 over 100, which means the square root of 4 over the square root of 100. All cubed. Remember that? Square root of 4, square root of 100. That's easy enough to do. Square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 100 is 10. All cubed. Now, again, what should you do at this point? Well, 2 over 10, folks. Come on, you can reduce that one. That's just too easy. You know and I know that's 1 over 5. 1 over 5 cubed. Simple, simple, simple. All you have to do is distribute that 3 upstairs, downstairs, mailman. So this is 1 cubed over 5 cubed. 1 cubed is 1. 5 cubed, of course, is 125. There's your answer. Oh, my goodness. Now, look what happens if you use the green one. If you would reduce that 4 over 100, that saves you a lot of time. So if you can reduce it, try to reduce it. So now you got the square root of 1 over 25, right? So it means the square root of 1 over square root of 25, and all of that is going to be cubed. Square root of 1, piece of cake. That's 1. Square root of 25 is 5, all cubed. Now, I'm having deja vu here because isn't that exactly the same as that? Sure it is, which means that this is now 1 cubed, 5 cubed. Which means, guess what? Yep, you got it. It equals to 1 over 25, or 125. See how this works? It's very, very simple if you stick to what you were taught way, way back by your elementary and junior high school teachers. You got this. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to clean this up, and then we're going to start the next question. Hold on. Now, some people say, oh, you gave me a decimal and you put it into the fractional form. Yeah, so I think 1 over 125 looks a lot nicer than, oh, well, we can put it in decimal form. 1 divided by 125. I don't like that, but okay, if you want to put down 008, you can. I guess that'd be James Bond's brother. 008. Okay, there you go. If you like, I prefer this. I think that looks cleaner and nicer. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. Ho, 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 ho. Uh-oh. I now gave you a decimal fraction. Well, you know what? Take that decimal fraction and convert it, or decimal and convert it into a fraction. It just makes so much more sense, doesn't it? Okay, so take 0.4, and look, 0.4 means 4/10, and you can reduce this down to, guess what? 2/5. There's your exponent now. So this is minus 32 to the power of 2 over 5. See how this works? Super simple. Okay, there's your exponent, right, which is squared. There's your root, right? So this might mean you have to use your calculator. Well, if you have to use your calculator, then use your calculator. Who cares, right? So you want the 5th root of -2. I personally think it's probably going to be 2, but let's just figure this out. Okay, 5th root. Remember, it's under math. 5th root is right here. 5th root of -32. Pop it. Look at that. It's -2. Oh, I was sort of right. I said 2, but it's actually -2. So it's a good thing we checked. Okay? Now, let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is -2, and then you're going to square it. Boom. Which becomes, now watch out for this, because if you go to your calculator then, and you just go to here and say, okay, mouse up, take this guy, There's the history, and then square it. Watch what happens. That's going to give you a negative number. That's not right. No, 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 no. Look at the way I wrote this. It's bracketed. Bracketed, right? That means you're taking this and going -2 times -2, which is actually +4 is your answer. So how do I do this on my calculator then? Guess what? You got to put brackets down. That bracket, pick up that -2. There it is right there. Pick up that -2, close the bracket, and square this. Now you'll get the proper answer, which is 4. Don't forget, when you're squaring that like this, that square only pertains to that 2, does not pertain to the negative. This way, now you're squaring the -2. That, in fact, is -2 times -2. Be very, very careful, okay? All right, learned a lot here today. All right, so let's keep on going. Next question. Whoa, take a look at this one. I'm going to do the same thing to you. I'm going to give you a decimal. But sometimes these decimals are easy to work with. Sometimes they're tough. So I'm just going to go 0.75. I want to convert that to a fraction. So go to our calculator again, okay? Some people can do this on the top of their head. That's great. But if you can't, you can always put it in your calculator. Go 0.75, go to math, hit number 1, which is, guess what? Number 1 says, I'm going to convert this, whatever the answer is, to a fraction. So I'm just going to hit 1. Boom. Convert 0.75 into a fraction, which you know is actually 3/4. Right? So if you're ever in doubt, go pop it in your calculator, figure out what that fractional form is, and then go from there. So this is 81 to the 3/4. Okay? Which means, again, look, there's the flour, there's the root. Okay? 4th root of 81 all cubed. Okay, so what is the 4th root of 81? And again, some people can do this in their head, some people can't. I just kind of throw it in my calculator. What's the 4th root? Because that gets me really used to using this button right here. Gets me used to using this guy. Okay, 4th root of 81. Okay, well, that's 3. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so there we go. We know that this guy becomes 3. But don't forget, we still have to cube it, so 3 cubed works out to be 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. Cool. Here we go again. Last question. This one's, again, nasty. Take a look at this. 0.75. Well, thankfully, we did it here. We know 0.75 is 3/4. Well, that's easy enough to do. But what's 0.6? I don't know. Wasn't that 6/10? Yeah. Or you can go 0.6, math frac, and done. 3/5. Oh, cool. Okay. So this is 3/4 to 3/5. Don't forget, there's the flour, there's the root. Okay. So this is the 5th root of 3/4, right, to the power of 3. This is going to be ugly. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to give you just an ugly, ugly, ugly number. It's going to be irrational because the 5th root of 3 and the 5th root of 4, come on. So how would we do this in our calculator in just one simple step? Remember, this is the 5th root of 3/4 cubed. Let's do it in one step. I'm going to clear this out of here. I'm going to show you how to do it. 5th root. 5th root. Do you remember where the 5th root was? It's right here. 5th root is number 5. Okay? But before you put that in, I want to show you. Remember, all of this is cubed, right? I want to show you how to do this in one easy step. Put the brackets in first. Watch this. If you put the bracket in first, then you're going to root it, because look what we got next. We got the 5th root of 3/4. Okay, so you're going to go over to math. You're going to go down to 5. There's the 5th root of 3/4. Now, if you mouse to the right here, again, that's going to be your fraction. Do you remember where the fraction button is? If you got the new calculator, it's alpha frac right there. Okay, if you don't have that new one, okay, you can go alpha, F1, and pick. There it is. Okay, now what was in that? What was the fraction that we were dealing with? The fraction was 3/4. Okay, so 3/4. Now, mouse out, because you're still under the radical sign here. Do you see how you're still under radical here? Mouse out. You don't want to be part of that radical. So hit to the right again. Takes you out of the radical. Put the bracket in now. See how this is starting to look an awful lot like what we have here. And this is going to be raised to the power of 3. Do you remember where raised to the power is? Sure you do. Hat 3. There it is. Does that not look an awful lot like what we have written right there? 5th root of 3/4 raised to the power of 3. 5th root of 3/4 raised to the power of 3. Oh my goodness, isn't that precious? That's awesome. Okay, hit it. Boom. 0.841466359. Yeah, see, I told you it was going to be irrational. So what do you do in this? Most questions will tell you to what decimal place they want you to take this to. I'm just going to, right now, I'm just going to take it to 2. So this is going to be 0.84. The answer here is 0.84. And of course, this is going to be approximate or wavy line 0.84. That's how you do these tough ones, hey? Not bad. Woo!